Welcome to this episode of Transformational Leadership TV, where we inspire, equip, and challenge leaders just like you to change the world around them. I'm your host, Genesis Eakes, and in this episode, we're going to be talking about the value of good values. You see, most people would agree that good values are important, but we take for granted that people will actually learn and live them out on their own. We see this all the time in organizations. Organizations will spend a ton of time identifying our core values and putting them up on conference room walls, but there's rarely any follow-up to ensure that people understand the values and are actually living them out on a day-to-day basis. Now, in his work transforming countries and communities all around the world, John Maxwell has found that most people, leaders in particular, I would assume, would rather have a discussion about strategies for impacting the world rather than talking about the values that will ensure the success of those strategies. Now, former US President Teddy Roosevelt put it this way. He has this quote that says, "A man who's never gone to school may steal a freight car, but if he has a university education, he might steal the whole railroad." Now, his point was just merely that an education is not enough, and strategies for impacting the world around us in a positive way that don't include helping people understand and live out good values are going to fall short. Recently, the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development has discovered this as well. Now, traditionally, this organization has been focused on poverty reduction and economic development, but they've now broadened their focus to include teaching values such as responsibility, self-control, empathy, cooperation, and self-efficacy. You see, everybody has values, whether we're aware of them or not. And our values are actually what drive our core belief systems. And that turns it into an information that informs our thoughts, that then drives our actions. You see, our values are what are driving our decision-making at any given time. And if we don't spend intentional time learning good values and building up the muscles to live them out, good values just become a preference. They're not actually who we are on the inside. Now, this is something that I have to remind myself of every morning when my alarm goes off at 5 a.m. and I have a choice to make about living out my value for having a healthy body and getting up and exercising or going back to sleep. Now, the same goes for what we put into our bodies too. Now, most people would agree. We all know that we should eat more healthy fruits and vegetables and exercise, but how many of us actually do it? We might prefer to have a healthy body, but our value for something else is what's overriding that preference. And we make choices based off of our strongest values. So in John Maxwell's book, Change Your World, he says that if we want to change our world, we can't just climb the ladder of success. We need to climb the ladder of good values. So the question to me is, what determines a good value? The good news is that the answer is actually pretty simple. A good value, if it brings only benefits and never harm to yourself or to other people. If you're like me, you might have been thinking, great, I get it. We all need to be making better choices, living out good values, but what does that actually do to change the world or even my organization? It comes down to culture. And I like the way that Diane Kaelin Sakura put it. Now, she's the author of the book, Save Your City, How Toxic Culture Kills Community and What to Do About It. Now, in her book, she says that culture is like a forest. Your seeds are your core values. Once they take root as behaviors, they can grow into trees, populating your cultural forest. Bad seeds produce unhealthy forests, infertile, plagued by infestations. Good seeds produce a healthy forest, an ecosystem that supports life. One is sustainable, the other simply is not. So if we want to change the world around us, we need to begin by planting seeds of good values in our own lives and in the lives of others so that we can benefit from the healthy cultural forest that can sustain our strategies. Simply put, culture Eat strategy for breakfast. Heard somebody famous say that once or twice. As you know, transformational leaders don't just see problems, they take action to do something about it. So here's my challenge to you. Pick up John Maxwell's book, Change Your World, and let it inspire you to become a catalyst for positive change. If you want to learn more about starting a transformation initiative in your area, reach out to us. We'd be happy to get you connected to some additional resources. Now, don't forget to like and subscribe so you can stay inspired, equipped, and challenged to change the world around you.